As summer neared, as the evenings lengthened, there came to the wakeful, the hopeful, walking the beach, stirring the pool, imaginations of the strangest kind, of flesh turned to atoms which drove before the wind, of stars flashing in their hearts, of cliff, sea, cloud, and sky brought purposely together to assemble outwardly the scattered parts of the vision within. In those mirrors, the minds of men, in those pools of uneasy water in which clouds forever turn and shadows form, dreams persisted, and it was impossible to resist the strange intimation which every gull, flower, tree, man, and woman, and the white earth itself seemed to declare, but if questioned at once to withdraw, that good triumphs, happiness prevails, order rules, or to resist the extraordinary stimulus to range hither and thither in search of some absolute good, some crystal of intensity, remote from the known pleasures and familiar virtues, something alien to the processes of domestic life, single, hard, bright, like a diamond in the sand, which would render the possessor secure. Moreover, softened and acquiescent, the spring with her bees humming and gnats dancing, threw her cloak about her, veiled her eyes, averted her head, and among passing shadows and flights of small rain, seemed to have taken upon her a knowledge of the sorrows of mankind.
Mother, will we be able to visit the lighthouse tomorrow?
Yes, dear, if it's nice tomorrow, but you'll have to be up with the lark.
But it won't be fine.
What he said was true. It was always true. He was incapable of untruth, never tampered with a fact, never altered a disagreeable word to suit the pleasure or convenience of any mortal being, least of all his own children, who, sprung from his loins, should be aware from childhood that life is difficult, facts uncompromising, and the passage to that fabled land where our brightest hopes are extinguished, our frail barks founder in darkness, one that needs, above all, courage, truth, and the power to endure. To pursue truth with such astonishing lack of consideration for other people's feelings, to rend the thin veils of civilization so wantonly, so brutally, was to her so horrible an outrage of human decency that, without replying, dazed and blinded, she bent her head as if to let the pelt of jagged hail, the drench of dirty water, bespatter her unrebuked. There was nothing to be said. It was a splendid mind, for if thought is like the keyboard of a piano, divided into so many notes, or like the alphabet is ranged in 26 letters all in order, then his splendid mind had no sort of difficulty in running over those letters one by one, firmly and accurately, until it had reached, say, the letter Q. He reached Q. Very few people in the whole of England ever reach Q. He could see without wishing it that obvious distinction between the two classes of men. On the one hand, the steady goers of superhuman strength who, plodding and persevering, repeat the whole alphabet in order, 26 letters in all, from start to finish. On the other, the gifted, the inspired, who, miraculously, lump all the letters together in one flash, the way of genius. He had not genius, he laid no claim to that, but he had, or might have had, the power to repeat every letter of the alphabet from A to Z accurately in order. Meanwhile, he stuck at Q. On, then, on to R. He seemed to her sometimes made differently from other people, born blind, deaf, and dumb to the ordinary things, but to the extraordinary things with an eye like an eagle's. His understanding often astonished her. But did he notice the flowers? No. She did not like, even for a second, to feel finer than her husband, and further, could not bear not being entirely sure, when she spoke to him, of the truth of what she said. Universities and people wanting him, lectures and books and their being of the highest importance. All that she did not doubt for a moment, but it was their relation and his coming to her like that, openly, so that anyone could see, that discomposed her. For then people said that he depended on her, when they must know that of the two he was infinitely the more important, and what she gave the world, in comparison to what he gave, negligible.
What is it that you intend to indicate with that purple triangle over there?
It's Mrs. Ramsay reading to James. I know of your objection, that no one could tell it for a human shape, but I made no attempt at likeness.
For what reason have you introduced them?
Why indeed, except that if there in that corner it is bright, here in this I feel the need of darkness.
Mother and child, then, objects of universal veneration, and in this case the mother was famous for her beauty, might be reduced to a purple shadow without irreverence?
But the picture is not of them, or not in your sense. There are other senses too in which one might reverence them, by a shadow here and a light there. For instance, my tribute took that form if, as vaguely as I suppose a picture must tribute, a mother and child might be reduced to a shadow without a reverence. A light here requires a shadow there.
Did nature supplement what man advanced? Did she complete what he began? With equal complacence she saw his misery, his meanness, and his torture. That dream of sharing, completing, of finding in solitude on the beach an answer, was then but a reflection in a mirror, and the mirror itself was but the surface glassiness which forms in quiescence, when the nobler powers sleep beneath? Impatient, despairing, yet loath to go, for beauty offers her allures, has her consolations. To pace the beach was impossible, contemplation was unendurable, the mirror was broken.